Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. You are hopefully watching your second video of the day. And 4.4 is all done and understood by you. If not, again, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll go through things. Today, or the second part of today, you are watching Lesson 4, Chapter 4, Lesson 5, Squares and Square Roots. I can statement is I can solve using square roots. Once again, you will be writing your own cheat sheet ideas. We'll be going through those in class tomorrow. Main idea, vocab, square root. You guys know what a square root is. You've worked with them for a long time. The square root, they look like this. The square root of 81 is my example. You know, or hopefully you know or have seen things like that. A square root is a number that produces a specified quantity when multiplied by itself. So 81 is a specified quantity. 9 and 9 are the two numbers that get you there, and they're being multiplied by themselves. Principal square root, very important you understand the difference between a square root and a principal square root. 9 squared is 81, and negative 9 squared is also 81. So actually, a square root is both a positive 9 and a negative 9 for this particular problem. A principal square root, it would be only the non-negative square root of any number. So because any number has both a positive and negative, considering squaring and a negative gives you a positive, we got to identify, or we got to talk about the difference between a regular and a principal. So the principal square root would be the non-negative square root of any number. Also on your calculator, when you type in a problem with the square root, it will always give you the non-negative square, which is going to be your principal square root. One skill that you have to be able to do is estimate square roots. So the square root of 55 does not work out perfectly. So with your mental math skills, you are realizing that the square root of 55 is somewhere between two square roots that you know very well. You know that 7 squared gives you 49, which in turn means the square root of 49 equals 7. Square root of 55 is what we're trying to evaluate. 8 squared equals 64, which is the square root of 64, which brings you back to 8. So the square root of 55 is somewhere between the square root of 49 and the square root of 64. So the value of the square root of 55, or 55, the value of the square root of 55 is going to be somewhere between 7 and 8. So the way we're going to answer that is between 7 and 8. Between 7 and 8. The square root of negative 90, my advice on solving problems like this would be to simply ignore, the negative square root of 90 is how you say that, the negative square root of 90. My advice would be to ignore the negative until the very end. So we have the square root of 90. We know that 9 squared is 81, and we know that 10 squared, make this one a little bit faster, equals 100. So the square root of 90 is somewhere between a 9 and 10. But we have a negative on the outside of it. So that negative is going to be tacked on to the end. Your answer is going to be between, not 9 and 10, because that would be the square root of 90, between negative 9 and negative 10. So my advice is tap the negative, or tack the negative on to the very end. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Don't forget about it, but ignore it until the very end, and then tack it on at the end after looking at the problem as a whole. Square roots, square root of 49 is equal to either 7 or negative 7, because I didn't ask you for the principal square root. The reason that is because 7 squared gives you 49, and negative 7 squared also gives you 49. So when I ask you for square roots, or when you are asked for square roots, you have two answers. The square root of negative 25, you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So it is not possible. Earlier on, I corrected myself, but I said the square root on number 4, way back up here, I said the square root of negative 90, and then I corrected myself. Make sure you're very careful when reading these. Number 4, when I corrected myself, I said the negative square root of 90. Number 6 here would be the square root of negative 25, which is not possible. The 0 with a slash through it, if you don't know that already, means not possible. That looks like the end of main idea number 3. Make sure you get your cheat sheet idea. Make sure you get your cheat sheet idea way back here for number 2, and your cheat sheet idea for number 1 as well. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. You should know that anyhow. Last main idea, solving square roots. Almost exactly like solving order of operations. Treat your square root like a parentheses. So the square root of 36 is 6. We're going to multiply the 3 by 6. The square root of 36 times 3 is going to give you 18. Really, really important that when you are solving problems like 3 to the square root of 36 or 3 times the square root of 36, only use the principal square root unless it tells you differently. So I did not use -6 as part of my answer because we are using only principal square roots when solving mathematical problems, when solving square root problems. Number 9, again, the square root of 25 over 16. It's pretty self-explanatory. Inside is the square root of 25 and the square root of 16. You're going to look at that fraction as 2 different square roots. So the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 16 is 4. You get 5/4 as your final answer. You know that that is in improper form. Convert it to a mixed number. The square root of 25/16 is 1 1/4. And number 10, again, the square root should be treated like a parenthesis. So we have 2 times the square root of 25 plus 4. If I were to rewrite it step by step, I would have 2 times the square root of 25, which is 5, plus 4. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. 2 times the square root of 25 plus 4 is 14. Cheat sheet idea, get it down. We'll talk about them tomorrow. Finish your assignment. Good luck with everything. Hope you have a great day.